Okay, good afternoon again. This is Manoj here from Plotch. Today we are going to speak about ONDC. This is an intro session. Basically, this session is designed for people who are looking at ONDC like at the initial stages. Want to know more about it and want to know how what are the opportunities. So it is more like a 101, a ONDC 101. We have a small audience, so I'll would want to know more from you what you are looking for. How if you are representing any organization, whether that organization is someone you're representing and you have questions for that, or if you are individually interested, what is the source and why you want to do it, kind of stuff, right? So ONDC definitely is the buzzword right now, and we are seeing a lot of activity. Plotch is one of the leaders in ONDC ecosystem when it comes to technology, right? So we provide a lot of technology solutions, and we have a lot of large enterprises who have using our technology solution. So we have a lot of you can say wealth of knowledge, insider, you know you can say that we know a lot of inside out what is happening, and we can give you practical answers, whether this is something is possible, whether it is not possible, and also tell you what is happening as such in this, right? So I want this session to be interactive as much as possible, so feel free to ask me any questions. This is, again, I'm going to tell you, this is a intro session. So if you are looking for more in-depth understanding of ONDC, we do a lot of focus session on whether it's technology, whether it's domain versus specific domains like B2B, B2C, or retail and fintech, right? Or anything more specific like payments in ONDC kind of stuff, right? So feel free to ask me any questions. Now, before I get into what is ONDC, we are a full stack company. I've told you we do a lot of implementation of ONDC solutions across domains, across enterprises, across business models. And we have 4 products that we have. Node app, Kirana app, which is a retail app, Node Desk, which is a primarily a grievance management solution, and Node Pay, which is for node to node payments. I'll tell you a little bit more about it in my coming slides. Primarily ONDC, if you look at ONDC, right, ONDC is an open network for digital commerce. Primarily, it's designed for people to participate without bias, without friction, so that anyone who wants to buy or anyone who wants to sell can democratically participate in the network and is able to either sell or buy freely without any bias, right? So it's designed for, of course, large enterprises, large buyers, large sellers, but it's also designed for very small buyers sitting in rural India somewhere with who's not able to, who's probably has never transacted on e-commerce. Also designed for sellers who are, today not able to sell online because of a variety of reasons, right? So it's designed at a population scale. It's designed for India. It's designed for everyone who wants to sell and buy across India, across, you see, it is a business model agnostic, it is location agnostic, and it is category agnostic, which means it works across categories. And that is a very, very big strength of ONDC, that it works for B2B, B2C, it works for retail, fintech, logistics, mobility, and a lot of other use cases like services which will come in future. And it across and works not only for India, it actually can work across global, right? So it is a huge global opportunity. That's why I keep saying this is like we're building eighth, you can say the eighth digital wonder of the world. It is something, something which no one has created before, and India is creating. So very, very exciting time. The impact is going to be amazing. That is something, when we look at ONDC and what it is doing and how it can impact, 30 to 50 crore customers with close to, 1.5 crore sellers selling with, billions of transactions happening every month. It is expected that, in full bloom, it is going to impact a lot of people across domains and geographies. As I said, it is category agnostic. It is going to cover all of India, 75 to 80% coverage. And one of the most important thing which is going to happen in ONDC is the offline to online journey. So a lot of folks who are today offline, they will get enabled through ONDC and will be given digital channels to sell, right? And that big offline to online journey, where today 8% or 7-8% people are digitally selling will become 80%. That 10x jump is going to be a big jump in this coming decade, and ONDC is going to be a big enabler of that. And so, as I said, it is going to be a large network, 100 billion commerce happening. Just imagine if that is happening, how fintech will play and how, a lot of, lending opportunities will come, the payments opportunities, the whole commerce, um, you know, a lot of other things which I'll talk in future. Primarily, if you look at this is something, I show as some, if you are looking to know about ONDC, right? uh, it is a network. One of the first thing that I tell everyone is that ONDC is not a platform, and that is a lot of people confuse that there's something called ONDC.com. I can go and buy and sell, right? It is not like that. It is a collection of platforms. You can say that it is therefore a network of platforms. It is a two-sided platform. The one side you have buyer apps, another side you have seller apps. Buyer apps primarily bring traffic to the network, and seller apps being supplied to the network, right? Anyone can be a buyer app, anyone can be a seller app. There's no restriction on that part. But these are you can say buyer app and seller apps are primarily what forms the network. And what you see between the dotted lines is what ONDC governs. Right? The sellers and the buyers are people who are coming into the network through one of these buyer apps and seller apps, right? So if you are an organization, right, if you are someone who is looking to join ONDC, one of the first question which people may ask you is that, do you want to be on the buyer app side or do you want to be on the seller app side? Or you want to be on the both, right? You can also be on the both. So you can also be a buyer app, you can also be a seller app. Some people are choosing, some of the people who have joined ONDC actually are on both sides, on buyer app and seller app. Um, and uh, buyer app now, how do I know if I want to be a buyer app or seller app? If you have large network, of consumers, if you're getting a lot of traffic on your platform, let's say for example, if you are Airtel or Vodafone, right? Or if you are MyGate, right? Or if you are like ShareChat, right? Or if you are, put Paytm and PhonePe already there, wallet, companies, right? If you are like a bank, who getting a lot of traffic on their mobile app, right? You can be on the buyer app side, right? Because you're getting a lot of traffic, and only thing that you need is that you need supply from ONDC, right? So seller apps will give you supply, and you just manage your buyer app and manage the queries and the payments kind of stuff, right? If you have a lot of sellers, if you're aggregating sellers, if you are manufacturing something, if you are a brand, if you are a fintech company who has insurance and lending products, if you are a restaurant, if you are for example a taxi union or a taxi auto rickshaw wala and all those things, you primarily are on the seller app side. That's how you will look at it, that I am here to aggregate supply, I am here to manage these sellers. Getting order is the buyer app's responsibility. My responsibility is to make sure if there's order, I can dispatch, right? So it's primarily that's how it works. Buyer apps, they help in getting the traffic. Seller apps, they help bring the supply. And the way the seller app and the buyer app communicate is through ONDC APIs. And who makes these APIs and how that API works is where the Plotch comes into picture, right? So we basically are the glue or adapters or you can say the technology stack using which these buyer app and seller app communicate with each other, right? So that's the role we play. We provide the whole full stack. So you don't need to worry about, website and mobile app, or, you don't need to worry about seller onboarding, all that technology which is needed for that we provide. So what I showed to you was primarily a retail, you know, uh, network where you see, Magic Pen, you see, HUL, you see Paytm, Misho, you may see Future, Flipkart, or Amazon also here. So primarily it's a retail network that we are talking about. ONDC is not just about retail. It has a lot of these networks for logistics. It has a separate network for logistics. It has a separate network for fintech. It has a separate network for mobility, right? So there are multiple networks which are getting built. And the beautiful part is that these networks can talk to each other, right? So there's a huge interplay opportunity, which exists in ONDC, where one network can basically get opportunity, commerce opportunity, another network, and those kinds. So, and I'll tell you when I show you how fintech and retail might interact with each other, right? Now, one quick example, I will say that how some people think how does it work, so I'll give you example. Let's say I'm Manoj, I want to buy a pizza. I go to Paytm, and basically Paytm is all the pizza walas which exists from in the network, right? So it is not just from Magic Pins, pizza walas. I'll get from, let's say, Idea Masters, Rapibiz, large aggregators, Bitzilla. There are a lot of other N Store, all the aggregators which are there on the other side who are pushing pizza. As a customer, I'll see on Paytm. Not only on Paytm, I'll see the same pizza walas on Misho. I'll same pizza walas on IDFC, on Spice Money. So I don't need to open multiple apps. If I can just open, like, say, Paytm or Misho to buy pizza. I bought a pizza. Let's say I like the pizza from Pizza Hut. So I bought a pizza. I paid 100 rupees to Paytm, and I ordered a pizza, right? The pizza order will go to Magic Pin, which is a seller app aggregator, which basically is part of the network, who has enabled Pizza Hut to enter into the network. So Pizza Hut is use Magic Pin to enter and display the catalog and pricing, which is captured and shown on Paytm, Misho, and all the kinds, right? So the order actually flows from me. I ordered Paytm, Paytm gives it to Magic Pin then gives it to Pizza Hut. Pizza Hut may use Dunzo or Loadshare, whatever, hyperlocal, Porter, whatever they use, they will deliver it to me, and I got my pizza, right? I paid pizza 100 rupees. Paytm may take like might take like a 3 rupees as a commission. They pay 97 rupees to Magic Pin. Magic Pin might keep 2 rupees as a commission. 95 rupees comes to Pizza Hut. This is how the payment flow works in ONDC, right? And let's say I did not like the pizza. I go to Paytm and say, oh, my pizza was bad. Please refund me. Paytm will take that query and give it to Magic Pin. Hey, the pizza was bad. Please look into it. Magic Pin will give it to Pizza Hut and say that I have received this, picture of a bad pizza. Please refund. If Pizza Hut decides to refund, they will tell to Magic Pin. Magic will tell to Paytm, and I'll get my refund of 100 rupees, right? It is a long chain, but this is where the issue and grievance management part of the ONDC comes into picture, which is again very automated. So this is how the grievance flows in the network, right? Whether it's retail, fintech, uh, or mobility, whatever domain we may take, the flow of payment and flow of grievance remains the same. That's a simple part. Before I get into the next, do you have any questions? Anyone has any question on what I'm, uh, speaking right now? Anything that you have any confusion or something? I'm assuming we're good here. So let me go to the. We looked at mobility, retail.
Uh,
Sorry. Yeah.
yeah, sorry. So I have one question. So as you said, for example, Pizza Hut is giving the order, but
Yeah.
Magic Pen is delivering it to Paytm. Paytm is delivering it to Meesho. So would this be the flow? Because Pizza Hut is already a network participant in ONDC. For example, if Meesho has already onboarded or it's calling the APIs for the seller who is searching for pizza, would it not directly go to Pizza Hut, but why would it go to this chain of Paytm in between? So
Okay. Let me tell you. But let's say Meesho is a buyer apps because you mentioned Meesho, right? So I buy pizza from Meesho, right? Now let's look at Pizza Hut as an entity, right? Pizza Hut is a seller in the network. It is termed as a seller. Magic Pin is turned as a network participant because part of the network. That's how ONDC is defined. Paytm is a network participant because is inside the dotted lines, right? So these are the network participants, and I am termed as a buyer. So buyer, network participants, which can be buyer app, and seller, which is on the other side, right? Now, as a seller, if I want to enter into the network, I will need one of these, seller app nodes to basically as a gateway to come into the network, right? So Pizza Hut in this example has chosen Magic Pin as a gateway to enter into the network. But as soon as it enters, it's available on all the buyer apps. That's how it works. Tomorrow, Pizza Hut may say, "Oh, Magic Pay is probably not doing a good job for me because either the payment is delayed or whatever the reason is." They may switch to, let's say, Idea Masters as a node, and Pizza Hut will then flow through Idea Masters and be present on all the buyer apps, right? Fundamentally, in ONDC, you just need one gateway to enter the network. As soon as you get in, you are available on all the buyer apps, right? So my journey as a customer, if I look at any of the buyer apps, I'll see Pizza Hut. So it doesn't change. The pricing is primarily the same. Now it may be that some may have a convenience fee charge, like Paytm might have a higher convenience fee and Meesho might have a lower convenience fee. But primarily the price remains the same on all for me as a customer, right? So I don't know if I answered your question just to give you more clarity how it works, because I thought there was confusion in how this works.
no, no, you did. So there was much clarification. Just another question. So before anybody could sell on ONDC, they would need at least a seller app. And similarly, if somebody wants to buy something on ONDC, they would need a buyer app, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yes, 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 yes. As a consumer, I can choose any of the buyer apps. I can go to, mobile apps, Play Store and download, let's say Paytm or Meesho. So there's nothing which ties me to particular app. And that's the beauty that, for me to buy, I don't need to download multiple apps. So you can say that all these buyer apps are in some way super apps, which are becoming super apps.
Got it, got it. And a follow-up question would be that somebody also posted on chat that what if Pizza Hut onboards two seller apps? Is that possible? Duplication of a particular product on the node, or it's not possible?
Yeah, it's a good question. Let me tell you, you know, Pizza Hut today, basically you just need to enter into the network through only one seller app, right? Duplication as of today is possible, but I think this is gonna get corrected in future. And the reason is there's a ratings which is coming, right? Now ratings is tied to a seller, which means that Pizza Hut. Now if you are into if you're entering it through two seller apps, you can actually, there's no restriction if you ask me, but the question is usually the question is which I ask is why would you need to, why would you want to be on the two seller apps, because there's no need, you just need one. As soon as you enter, you are available.
Hey, just to follow up on that one,
Yeah.
yeah, so sorry to jump in like that, but I asked the question in the chat. So if I'm Pizza Hut, so you're saying as of now it's not one-to-one mapping, it is one to multiple mapping. But I could create two different stores, one via Magic Pin, let's say a mass pricing product, and one via Idea Masters, which could be a more premium priced product, right? So there could be such use cases. So will I get different seller IDs? Because
Yeah.
those
So
two are.
yeah,
Hmm,
so you will get two different seller IDs definitely. uh that is that because Magic Pin will assign the seller IDs are assigned by the seller apps, right,
correct.
today.
Okay.
So Magic Pin will give you a seller ID, Idea Masters will give you another seller ID, and you will go as two sellers into the network. If
Okay.
so, and
So
you
for
may
all
have
practical. Mhm,
yeah, actually people are doing that right now. One of the seller NP I know
mhm.
is using one for their own premium D2C products and one for very general, D2C products. So those things are happening as of today. So yeah, that's possible.
Yeah, one more question if you don't mind me asking.
Sure, no issues.
So let's say there are 100 pizza shops, and all of those 100 pizza shops they choose three different products for their different stores. I'm a buyer app. I call their Select API, and Select API is then broadcasted to the network nodes. And then I get like for 100 into 3, so I'll get 300 lists of the same pizza. And would it not? And this is just an example for 100 sellers, but there could be thousands of sellers. So would it not flood my request body?
No, that's a fair question. So you're saying basically I can create multiple identities, right? And therefore, instead of 100 listing, I will have 1,000 listing because I'm 10 times replicated, and it can basically be present on the other side as 10 times. Now people are not doing it right now. Of course, ONDC, I think from a policy perspective, will not allow it. From that perspective, your seller app will not allow multiple your one seller app, but of course you can use another seller app and therefore be present. If you ask me, there's nothing prevents it right now. But if you ask me whether people are doing it, no, people are not doing it right now. uh, if you ask me whether you should do it, I would not suggest, because it is something which I think people will flag it and can create issues for you in future. Yeah, that's the very practical answer that I can give it to you. I don't know if that answered your question. Yeah, next question. If sorry, I think someone come in chat. What is a unique identifier to become a seller? So today, there is no unique identifier, and that is something that in a way, prevents the rating of the seller to be tied, right? So I think that the discussions happening, to give each seller a unique ID, so that if they are rated and if a switch a seller app, then the ratings can flow, with them, right? So and it's going to be primarily maybe tied to PAN or GST, but a lot of sellers, small sellers, don't have GST and PAN. So it sort of becomes from that perspective, whether it's a democratic in nature, that if I don't have GST and PAN, I cannot sell. Because let's say a small, street vendor or something, whether so maybe phone number, as you're pointing out, phone number can become an identity here. But still, I think those questions have not been answered yet. So if you ask me today, there is no unique identifier for seller. Each seller app assigns a seller ID, which can be actually same. Any other question? Okay, I'll then move ahead. Fintech, again, a very interesting thing, right? Uh, you know, what ONDC is looking at is primarily three things in fintech right now: lending, your insurance, and mutual funds. Right? These are the three products or three categories, you can say, that which are getting launched in fintech domain. Lending will be primarily, it will start with the unsecured lending, maybe personal unsecured lending. Then it will go into seller, who have GST, so GST based financing for working capital. Insurance, it can be, health insurance to start with. Mutual funds, small, chassis size, small, 100 rupees, 1,000 rupees mutual fund. So that's basically is what the thought process is happening right now, in fintech perspective. I personally am very excited about the whole working capital, uh, you know, part of this network, because it ties very well to the retail network, right? And I'll tell you a little bit about that. Before let me just focus on this one right now. What I'm presenting is that you know this is sort of a triangle of trust that I talk about. There's this whole grievance management, which is driven by IGM. There's whole payments as settlement part, which is driven by RSP, and there's a whole ratings part, which is driven by trust score. This three piece is today is in the process of going live in the network, right? Which will make your grievance, your issue ticket management very seamless. Your payments from buyer to seller very seamless, and anyone who does well will get rewarded with ratings, and anyone who doesn't do well with respect to ratings can be flushed out. So it is a very important piece that is getting built. These are the domains which are going live. Retail logistics already live. Mobility and is fintech, is going live right now. And in retail, basically B2C, B2B. B2B is again very interesting, because it can really unlock the whole B2B commerce in India. Uh, and I talked about the interplay, right? Why I'm so excited about the lending part is because uh, one network can actually cascade and basically take benefit of the another network, right? For example, I'm a B2B seller in retail domain. I got a big order. I got like 1,000 sari order, right? And I don't have working capital for 1,000 sari order, but I have a verified order, purchase order, which I've received. I can potentially, using the retail or using the fintech network, I can go with the purchase order and say that, hey, I have received a large order of saris, but I need working capital, and therefore the fintech network can give me lending for it, right? So I become a borrower, and let's say IDFC Bank becomes the lender or the seller of lending product in the fintech network, right? So this seamlessly can flow because you are playing in the whole ONDC ecosystem, where your retail network is talking to fintech network. And similarly, let's say I got a large 1,000 sari order, but I need to dispatch, right? So I need courier services. So I can go into the logistics network and seek for the best courier rates for my order, right? And this basically can basically uh, also can be tied to fintech, where for the courier payments I can say, can I get lending for it? So the fintech network actually lends to the courier company on behalf of me, basically pays on behalf of me, and then I basically pay the fintech guy. So this whole interplay of networks is actually very interesting in my view, and can really unlock a lot of access to capital issues, and access to logistic services issues for a lot of guys. I talked about couriers. I'll skip that. huge B2B and exports opportunity. B2B and exports is coming, and I think if you are looking at ONDC right now, this is something that you should look at. If you are interested in B2B and exports, and if you're a global company, we're looking to see how I can be part of, how I can play a role in this. Exports again, ties to a lot of fintech and courier, because logistics is a big piece in exports. So if you become part of the logistics network, if you're international courier company, you can actually become part of the logistics network and benefit from export side. The whole RFQ and PO process, quotation process, invoice process is getting built in ONDC, which can be very, very interesting in my view. This is how the stack looks like, and this is for startups, like who want to build tools, who want to build software apps for ONDC. You have opportunity in all the layers. It starts from the top business layer to the infra layer, right? So business layer, primarily a business models. Let's say you want to start a reseller network, right? So there's opportunity there on the business layer. The whole scaling and experience part is very interesting, because a lot of AI can come into picture, and we are working with few AI companies and on integrating into our tech stack. If you're building anything AI, please reach out to us, to me at Manoj at Plotch.ai. We definitely are interested in a lot of AI companies to integrate with our technology stack. Then basically your application layer, your middleware, your network layer, and then your whole scaling part at the infra layer, right? If you are an infra company where you provide, either hosting services or those kind of stuff, ONDC is a great playground for you to basically offer your hosting services. Or if you are providing any apps like, search enhancement, or filter enhancement, or scoring of the sellers, right? Trust scores of the sellers. If you're building a lot of analytics, there are a lot of analytics opportunity in ONDC, because there's a lot of data. Someone needs to look at, what's happening, where my search is coming. If I'm a brand, I'm more interested in where my, where in which pin code, my Parlay G product is, or my, whatever, other, Chawan product is getting searched. So I want to know in which pin code they're getting searched. So there are a lot of interesting demand and supply chain analytics which can actually be plugged into ONDC, and can be very valuable for you if you're a startup. Is I'm saying sharing this is that the opportunity is all part of the stack of ONDC, and it's up to you how you want to take it. As I said, AI is very, very interesting in my view. If you're a global startup, if you are someone who is looking at how do I put my product or tools into ONDC, is that AI has a lot of role in ONDC. Now, as I said, ONDC is a two-sided network. On one edge of the network you have buyers, another edge of the network you have sellers, and these needs to come into the network, in a very simple way, frictionless way. um, if you look at UPI primarily made it so simple for a reseller and customer to to use it, that they were actually not hesitant to basically put a QR code, or open a mobile app and scan. Similar thing has to happen in ONDC, that for a seller to come into the network. For example, catalog is the first and most important hindrance, to basically become part of the network. So can you do something in catalog AI? Can you make it so simple that people can come into the network? For example, Spine.ai is one company which is, I know, is doing that. Um, on the search AI, for example, can you make it voice enabled, multilingual search? Something which makes it so easy that someone in rural India can buy without really typing, right? So Slang Labs, I know, is one of the companies which is doing that. Of course, we play the role in the network. We are the network, and I know Google Cloud is doing a lot of AI across the spectrum. Lot of AI opportunities in my view if you're a global startup. I think I have a question here. I think Gaurav has a question. Does it have any persistence layer? Will seller ratings be preserved in the network independent of the seller app node? Yes. So ratings is something, if you ask me, has a persistent storage, uh, and the storage is on the blockchain. As of today, that's how it's been designed. So all the ratings of a particular seller, that's where the seller ID starts to come into picture, and that's where there has to be a uniform seller ID, where using which someone can identify is the same seller. But given that it's not there, it is still WIP. But the idea is that seller will have a unique seller ID. With that unique seller ID, the ratings are tied. That ratings will be stored on a blockchain. If the seller moves from one seller app to another seller app, the ratings will remain the same. They can carry over the rating, which is very, very different from what happens in Amazon and Flipkart. That if you are a seller and if you move your from Amazon to Flipkart, your ratings don't move. Here, your ratings will move, which is a very, very important aspect for a lot of sellers who are, who don't want to continue on a particular platform, but because they have ratings, they actually are not able to do that. So that's a short answer to what you're asking. That yes, you can move from one seller app to another seller app, and your ratings will move. Any other question before I move to my next slides? Any questions on AI? Any other question on technology, or business model, opportunity, anything? So basically, if you look at, right, there are a lot of opportunities. Here's the opportunity landscape that primarily, if you ask me, I have one question. Sorry, I'll just what is the core value seller app node brings? Is it seller onboarding relationships? Yes. So basically, that's a good question, because that is a question a lot of people are looking an answer to be very frank. That if tomorrow if some seller app comes and say that, hey, I want to offer like a 0% commission, right? Then primarily because the seller can move, they will move from one seller app to another seller app very quickly and say, and whatever you have built as a seller app aggregation value will actually destroy it, because someone with a well-funded, or someone who is willing to lose a lot of money is giving a 0% commission, right? Now that's where the lot of other things start to come in picture, right? For a lot of sellers, getting timely payment is very, very important. And one of the key functions of a seller app node is to ensure that the payment flows seamlessly from the buyer app to seller, because they're part of the payment flow. So that is one factor which, if you are a seller app, is to ensure that your payment process is very strong, right? The second thing is that if you are a seller app, and for a lot of sellers, that matters is that how easy the onboarding process, or how easy. So once you're onboarded, of course, that doesn't matter. You can still switch out, but how easy is for you to manage your catalog and inventory and a lot of stuff, right? So if you provide them a very simple interface where it's not a lot of headache for them to use your product, they might be willing to give you an extra, percentage, and may not move, right? So primarily here, your service qualities actually becomes differentiator. How you manage your seller becomes differentiator. Uh, in a way, how your technology becomes a differentiator. Commercials will be derived from that, because if you look at it, the commissions can go down to zero. Other thing is that if you have a technology stack which enables the seller to get lending, that's a very good hook for you to keep your seller hooked to your seller app, despite someone saying I have a 0% commission, right? So having a technology stack where you can enable a seller to get lending from another network, from another, from the fintech network, or having a technology stack where you enable a seller to get a courier service from another logistics network, right? These technology hooks are actually very, very interesting if you are a seller app to I thought I'm hoping that I answered a question because sort of broken into multiple parts, but hopefully I was able to give it to you.
Yeah, no, it does. Thanks. I think the question was around, I think this they're managing the seller relationship, right? So buyer
Yes.
apps ensure that they are able to collect the buyers, bring to the network, and seller apps collect the sellers, and how
Yeah.
efficient and how commercially viable they are will decide on who goes to which seller app, right? Seller. I have one more question, follow up on delivery slash fulfillment. Is it the responsibility of sellers directly, or these seller apps as platforms will also be expected to provide delivery service?
So seller apps play a very important role when it comes to logistics, delivery and fulfillment, right? They help sellers get courier, capabilities. So a lot of these sellers don't have, logistic capabilities, right? So either they become the basically the folks who ensure that the sellers get couriers, or through the logistics network, they help. This is what we call on network logistics, is that they help these sellers get courier services from the logistics network, right? So yes, seller apps play a very, very important role, and also they play a very influencing role on seller when it comes to courier. And that's why I keep telling a lot of courier companies to become a seller app, because it is important for a courier company to be also a seller app to ensure that the courier relationships are not governed by seller app but by themselves. Uh, Hopefully, I was able to answer that question, Gaurav. I have another question here. Uh, how does a subscription kind of platform be integrated on ONDC? Uh, so basically, I'm assuming this is on the buyer app side. Rakesh, because subscription can works both on the seller app and the buyer app, right? For example, Nammayatri, which is an auto rickshaw, completely runs on subscription, which means that they actually don't take any commission. It's a zero commission model. But what they're saying is that I am a technology company. I am going to charge a subscription fee per month to my user, which in this case is auto rickshaw wala, right? So they're charging 100 rupees, 200 rupees, whatever per month as a subscription fee, 0% commission. So auto rickshaw wala knows if my customer is paying me 20 rupees, I am getting 20 rupees, there's no commission call. I know 100 rupees is going every month, but that's a fixed cost that I know what is going. But at least there is a transparency here that what the customer is paying is what I'm getting. And what also is interesting thing is that for every 20 rupees, if I'm collecting as a cash, I don't have to pay Nammayatri. It's just straight transaction. 20 rupees come, 20 rupees goes into my pocket. I don't have to do calculation or 2% I have to give that guy, all those things, right? So yes, subscription models are very, very interesting on the seller app side. In fact, a lot of people are thinking that at population scale networks, it's better to use subscription models, even on the seller app side, because it sort of takes away the whole headache of calculation for the seller app and seller, that, how much do I need to collect from this guy? And it's pretty much a fixed deterministic cost for the seller every month. So that's a long-winded answer on the subscription part. On the buyer app side, yes, buyer app side also you can charge subscription, but usually I've not seen that kind of behavior on the buyer app side that people are charging subscription to for the buyers. I think those models may come in future, but there's nothing which prevents a subscription based business to come on the buyer app side. Yeah, I think those are the questions. So I think I have another 10 minutes. So I'll just quickly go to another slide. So huge opportunity for D2C brands. If you're a D2C brand, you basically can list once, be available everywhere, You just need to ensure that you are doing local fulfillment, because fulfillment costs is going to be a major, you know, make or break in your gross margin. So what we are seeing is a lot of D2C brands are planning, network of dark stores in neighborhoods, so so that they can fulfill, and in future, and I'm also seeing that as a possibility, is that marketplaces will come who will create these large networks of dark stores, so that D2C brands can basically don't need to manage their dark stores. Basically, someone is managing the dark store network, and they're using that network, right? There's a huge opportunity for creating a marketplace of dark stores in this ecosystem. Again, a very interesting opportunity. A lot of opportunity for fintech. I talked about lending, for banks actually. There are opportunities to create, help basically be enablers and settlements between nodes. That's another opportunity I've seen for banks. They can create nodal banking solutions are required in ONDC. If you are offering a credit card, you can actually create a buyer app, lock in your credit card so that only your credit card can be used on the buyer app, and therefore promote your credit card on ONDC network. Lot of opportunities. If you are a web app developer, right, you can actually get access to the network through APIs. We provide those APIs. If you're looking for APIs, you can reach out to me again, Manoj at Plotch.ai. But you can build a lot of interesting use cases using those APIs. For example, group buying. If you want to enable a group buying, app on ONDC, you can actually use the APIs to create group buy. If you want to bring a WhatsApp ONDC, which means that create a WhatsApp storefront where someone can buy, any pizza or sari or kurti or whatever, grocery, uh, through WhatsApp, you know, um, of course, WhatsApp connected to ONDC network through APIs. That's also reselling. All those interesting opportunities are there if you're a web app developer. If you are looking to in the advertising space, right, you can actually take the whole catalog of ONDC and 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 do catalog ads, and therefore create it as an advertising service for buyer apps, and even for seller apps, if they want to promote, right? So there's a huge catalog ads opportunity in ONDC from opportunity perspective. If you are a large FMCG brand, right, you may want to give your Kirana app, your ONDC Kirana app to a lot of these Kirana walas. Therefore, they can sell into the network seamlessly. Right. Again, a very interesting opportunity if so that you actually have created a distribution channel for your products through Kiranas into ONDC. So that's another opportunity. I'll take. I think I have one more question. How can a seller influence visibility to the customer on this network? So unfortunately, seller cannot directly influence. So there is no sponsored part here right now. In fact, ONDC mandates all the buyer apps to publish their sorting and filtering criterias, because they want to ensure that there's no bias in the network. One of the reasons why this ONDC network was created was to, because a lot of sellers on Amazon and Flipkart complained that they are not able to, they are basically in some ways paying a lot of high commission, 40-50% commission to sell, and there's no other option for them to sell. So and they're not getting the visibility on Amazon, if they have to pay, because to get visibility, all those things. So one of the reasons why it was created is because to ensure the small sellers don't feel that there's a bias in the network. So it is actually in some ways prohibited to not basically to basically get take payment and promote the seller. If you're doing that, you may have to display in certain way or take permission from ONDC. But as of today, it is not permitted. So lot of opportunities in ONDC if you're a startup, right? If in AI, B2C, B2B, exports, D2C, if you're a D2C brand, analytics, trust scores, fintech mobility, there are actually a lot. I've just listed once, few here, sorry. If you want any help in ONDC with respect to launch into the network, you can always reach out to me at Manoj at Plotch.ai. These are my coordinates. Uh, ONDC, as I said, is a lot of activity happening. In fact, on 2 days back in Google I/O conference, it was announced that Google is working for certain kind of products related to ONDC, and they launched an accelerator. So even companies like Google are very excited about ONDC. We have launched a Plotch accelerator with Microsoft, where we are taking startups who want to launch into the network. We take through this accelerator and scale them into the network. So that's the accelerator that we are working with IDFC Bank and Microsoft. So if you need any info on that, I'm happy to share. So again, concluding, a lot of opportunity for startup. It is a gold mine. It is the future. It is a digital eighth wonder of the world. It is something that India is creating very uniquely. This is not a copycat of West coming into India. This is what India has created, and we are taking it outside. So something that I think you should feel excited about it from that angle. From business angle, lot of opportunities for you. We are here to help you. ONDC team is here to help you. And with that, want to conclude. I think one question here. Sorry, I'll just take that one. Not sure how will new seller like a D2C Ayurveda brand bootstrap their visibility most ranking. I will not pick them. Uh, Basically, it is getting ensuring that visibility of the seller is and sellers who are sort of deprived of any brand push and promotion on the buyer app side should be able to sell without bias. It's still WIP in my view. But we are all here to ensure the small sellers are able to sell without bias, and that's something that is sort of a promise, which everyone is including ONDC, I think, is making is that small sellers don't get hampered, right? So I'm quite sure a lot of the questions and a lot of teething issues will get resolved in future. But the stand today is this, that there is that any seller who wants to sell should be able to sell without bias. So that's basically is the policy stand that I know what is taking. Yeah. I think with that I'll conclude. Any other question before I wrap up? One last question I can take. 3 more minutes. Great. Thank you, everyone. And I'll see you next week. We'll do session on probably B2B next week. So if you are looking to, do anything in B2B, look forward to that. I look forward to that because that's something is very interesting for me. I'm not able to hear anyone. I don't know.
Uh, Hey Manoj, I have a question in the chat.
Sure. I'm not able to hear. Sorry. I think someone is speaking, but I'm not able to hear. Uh, Sorry, which question you said?
Hello, am I audible?
Yes. You are audible now. Yes. Uh, Sorry, I'm not able to hear. Any question, anything?
Oh, okay, let me ask then.
Sure.
So could you share more about WhatsApp ONDC? So because as I recall, GeoMart is on WhatsApp, but how has WhatsApp integrated to ONDC today? Have they opened up their
No,
APIs or something?
there's no integration with WhatsApp as of today. But what you can do is that uh, if you are interested in building a WhatsApp storefront, right, where let's say I'm searching for atta, right, and I say looking for atta, I type on WhatsApp. You can actually take that query and use ONDC network to search for atta and show display all the atta uh, options to that customer in WhatsApp. And then someone will say, okay, I want to buy this atta. Then you basically go into an ONDC network and then you say, this customer is added or wants to buy this atta. They will say, okay, I have atta available. Then you will share a payment link right on WhatsApp storefront. So you will pay. They say payment has been done, and the atta will be delivered. Very primitive, you can say, flow from a user experience perspective, but very effective because for a lot of people, they only know how to do WhatsApp. They don't know how to do anything else. So it is for these people who know how to use WhatsApp, but are not able to go to mobile app or any other website. I think interesting opportunity is there to create a WhatsApp storefront. ONDC, the API providers are people like us. ONDC doesn't provide any API. ONDC is a governing body. ONDC decides the schemas and API specification, but they don't implement those APIs and schemas. We actually do that. People like us, basically, there are a lot of others. So
Got
we
it.
are called technology service providers, TSPs. So you can reach out to us. Yes.
Got it. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, everyone. I'll see you next week. Bye bye. Good night.